Have you ever noticed that some people seem to be carried by an invisible force? As if there were a special protection, a mark reserved for only a few. What if I told you that this favor of God isn't just luck, but a unique sign meant only for the chosen? We all long for a life that has meaning, full of blessings and protection. For some, the favor of God is exactly that difference that transforms every step. Yet, this favor isn't just a human desire for good things, it's a divine mark, a special signal that defies common logic and reveals itself in the midst of trials and challenges. But how do we know if we carry this mark? And how can it transform our lives? In this video, we'll dive into biblical stories and deep lessons to understand how God's favor works in our lives, opening doors, strengthening our faith, and helping us see beyond circumstances. We'll explore how to live in gratitude, trust, and humility, so that divine favor overflows into every part of our journey. If you feel you're searching for something greater or that there's a purpose set aside just for you, this is the time to understand what it means to carry the sign of the chosen and the powerful impact that can have. Faith is an invisible yet deeply transformative force. It's curious, isn't it? Often we think we need to achieve, earn, or accomplish something grand to be worthy of divine blessings. But the truth is, God's favor isn't bought, bargained, or achieved by human merit. It's a pure expression of God's love for us, something that's simply given. This favor opens doors, changes circumstances, and creates paths where there was once only uncertainty. Imagine someone walking down a dark road, and suddenly a light illuminates the next step. That's divine favor in action. When we look at divine blessings with grateful eyes, we realize they sustain us in times of challenge and trial. We are not alone, and it's this presence of favor that gives us the courage to move forward. Those who recognize God's favor in their lives understand that, even in moments of apparent darkness, a greater force guides them. And that's where faith comes in, a deep trust, a certainty that despite adversity, everything works together for our good, strengthening our spirit and connecting us directly with what God desires for us. For many, living with faith and trusting in God's favor requires courage, but this is the true foundation of humility and gratitude. How about a simple practice for this? In difficult times, mentally list 3 things you're grateful for. Something as simple as a supportive friend or an unexpected opportunity can be a reflection of divine favor. Over time, this practice helps us see the invisible gifts that God places on our path, lifting our spirits and strengthening our trust. And finally, this trust and gratitude make room for us to walk in obedience to God's purpose. When we understand that God's favor accompanies us, we're more able to accept the divine plan with humility, knowing we are being guided. And thus, we walk hand in hand with faith, allowing it to direct us. After all, how many times have we heard stories of faith and divine favor that transformed lives? What doors have opened for those who walk in faith? These questions prepare us to reflect on examples of favor we find in the Scriptures. The Scriptures are full of inspiring stories of men and women who experienced God's favor in extraordinary ways. Think of Noah, for instance, an ordinary man called to build the ark and save creation in the midst of a corrupt world. God saw something special in him, and his favor led him on a monumental mission. This favor opened doors for Noah that no one else could have opened. Similarly, Mary, chosen to be the mother of Jesus, received divine favor when visited by an angel, a mission she accepted with humility and obedience. These stories aren't just ancient, they show us that divine favor works to fulfill greater purposes. When we reflect on these examples, we realize that God's favor can also work more subtly in our lives, in opportunities that appear without warning or encounters that change our course. We don't need an angel or a mission like Noah's to see divine favor in action. Sometimes, a door opens at work, a sudden healing happens, or support appears just when we need it. These are signs of God's favor guiding us. He works in both grand missions and small details, always revealing His presence. These stories also show us that divine favor requires humility and obedience from us. Imagine if Noah or Mary had refused their missions, how different would history have been? Just like them, when we receive blessings and opportunities, we're invited to act with obedience and gratitude, knowing that a greater purpose guides our lives. Acting this way is a powerful testimony to God's impact in and through us. It's an invitation to be part of something much greater. These examples call us to recognize God's hand in our everyday lives. When we understand that He is present and active, we're encouraged to seek this perspective in every challenge and trial. The next step is to develop this sensitivity so that we can see God's favor even in the most common situations, recognizing His blessings in what might initially seem ordinary. Recognizing God's hand in our lives requires a transformation in how we see the world around us. Often, we're so focused on problems and goals that we forget to notice signs of divine favor that reveal themselves in simple things. It takes a willingness to cultivate a more attentive outlook and a grateful heart, for only then can we perceive the divine blessings that often go unnoticed. God's favor is present in the details, but to see it, we must pause and reflect. How about, at the end of each day, taking a moment to remember times when you felt peace, protection, or hope? These are signs of divine presence. This practice of recognition can transform our perception and strengthen our faith. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, we begin to view them as opportunities for growth and tests of faith. Each trial becomes an invitation to reinforce our trust and remember that divine protection always surrounds us. How many times, for instance, have we faced difficulties that seemed insurmountable but ultimately strengthened us? That's God's favor at work, shaping and preparing us for something greater. Gratitude is a powerful key to opening our eyes to God's presence in our lives. When we cultivate a grateful heart, God's favor becomes more evident, even in the most challenging situations. It's like changing the lens through which we see the world. Instead of focusing on lacks and problems, we start to see the gifts, the love, and the opportunities. A practical exercise is to write down 3 reasons for gratitude daily. Gratitude brings us closer to God and broadens our awareness of His blessings. When we open our hearts to this new way of seeing, we begin to realize that God's favor isn't just something grand and rare. It's daily, constant, manifesting in health, protection, and small acts of kindness that cross our path. This shift in perspective prepares us to live with renewed expectation, ready to receive what God has in store. And it's this expectation we'll discuss next. Living with expectation is more than just hoping good things will happen. It's a quiet confidence, knowing that God's favor is actively working every day at the foundation of our lives. This expectation helps us see each new day as an opportunity to witness something special, a divine movement. It's not a fleeting optimism, but a solid faith that transcends reason. When we wake up believing that God has plans for us, even small difficulties turn into rehearsals for something greater. The difference between human expectation and divine faith lies in the peace we feel, even in the face of the unknown. While human hope needs guarantees to sustain itself, expectation based on faith is like an invisible shield, protecting us from doubt and fear. Imagine a child holding their parents' hand on a dark road. They don't see the way, but they trust because they know they are safe. Similarly, our faith in God's favor supports us, even when the end of the road is invisible. This posture of expectation prepares us to see divine blessings in every detail. With an open and grateful heart, we see beyond appearances and discover that God acts in the smallest details. This is living in faith, believing that each encounter, each slight detour, may be part of God's purpose. Instead of reacting to situations, we choose to respond with confidence. And when we live with this expectation, the world around us notices that light. They observe how we face challenges and are moved by our peace, our hope. In this way, we begin to overflow with the essence of God's favor, inspiring others to seek that same purpose. But when blessing overflows, we're called to something greater, to share God's favor and impact the lives of those around us. When we live immersed in God's favor, our lives begin to overflow with blessings that reach beyond ourselves. This overflow is natural. The more we receive from God's love and goodness, the more we want to share these blessings with the world around us. Think of the feeling of receiving wonderful news. It's hard to keep it to yourself, isn't it? This urge to share divine gifts is a reflection of the impact of God's favor poured out on us. And this generosity, this desire to give back, is a way to multiply what we receive. Allowing God's favor to reach us automatically inspires us to help others. Sometimes this means giving time to someone who needs advice or offering emotional support to those facing trials. Other times, it's about performing simple gestures like listening to someone with empathy or doing an unexpected act of kindness. By doing so, we reflect divine blessings and become instruments of hope and comfort in others' lives. This overflow of favor also fuels our gratitude. The more we recognize how blessed we are, the more we feel the desire to give back. And this gratitude becomes a chain of blessings that not only strengthens us but also expands our impact on the lives of those around us. Gratitude makes us see each day as an opportunity to positively touch someone, to be a reflection of divine love and protection. By doing this, we feel we are fulfilling God's purpose for our lives. This way of living generates powerful testimonies and transforms our existence into a channel of continuous blessings. Those around us begin to see God's favor reflected in our actions, and, inspired, they themselves seek this light. Thus, our lives become a beacon of faith and hope, radiating God's power to the world. And as we will see later, this posture strengthens us to face challenges with unshakable faith. Having God's favor doesn't mean we'll be spared from challenges. In fact, these moments of trial are opportunities to strengthen our faith. When we face difficulties, it's natural to feel down, but it's precisely in these moments that trusting God becomes our greatest strength. Each challenge is an invitation to renew our hope and believe that He is beside us, guiding each step. This trust isn't blind but born from the certainty that divine protection surrounds and sustains us even in the worst storms. These challenges serve as stepping stones for our spiritual growth. Instead of sinking into worries, we should embrace these moments as opportunities for learning and overcoming. For example, imagine someone going through a difficult financial situation. Instead of losing hope, this person can see this period as a chance to practice gratitude for small blessings and strengthen their faith in God's provision. It's in these moments that we understand that difficulties aren't punishments but paths that bring us closer to Him and reveal the true value of humility. Another important point is that by facing trials with a posture of faith, we inspire those around us. Our resilience, our trust in God's favor, serves as an example to others who sometimes feel abandoned in their own struggles. The faith we show during these testing times speaks louder than words. And by emerging stronger from each situation, we become living proof of the impact that faith and divine favor can have on a life. Each challenge overcome prepares us for the next stage, strengthening our connection with God. When we understand that these difficult moments are an essential part of the journey, we open ourselves to be light and inspiration for others. And it is precisely this mission of being a beacon of hope that we will reflect on next. Each of us is called to be a light, a presence that radiates God's love and grace to those around us. When we walk with God's favor, our lives become a visible testimony of the power of His goodness and protection. Being a light doesn't mean living without problems but rather carrying a hope that transcends circumstances. It's this hope that shines, even on the darkest days, inspiring others to seek this connection with God. In everyday life, this can be practical: a word of encouragement, a kind gesture, or simply listening to someone in their distress. Being a light is, above all, living intentionally and with purpose, recognizing that our existence has an impact that goes beyond what we imagine. When we look at others with compassion and are guided by sincere faith, our actions begin to reflect the divine favor we have received. Small acts, like helping someone in need or sharing words of gratitude, are ways to spread this light and show God's love in a tangible and accessible way. This role of being light in the world transforms us into living testimonies. Our lives start to attract those who seek hope and answers because God's favor in us is visible and inspiring. Gratitude, humility, and faith become characteristics that draw attention and lead people to want to know the source of this peace and protection. It's like a flame that never goes out, and the more we give to others, the stronger this flame becomes. Living like this is to impact the world, even if it's in a quiet and subtle way. And the more we allow God's light to shine within us, the more we understand that we are part of a greater purpose. Our calling is to make a difference, to be a reflection of divine goodness, and to inspire those we meet on our path. And this is a mission that, when lived with faith and gratitude, transforms not only our life but the lives of everyone around us. And so, we conclude this journey of reflection, reminding us that God's favor is always present for those who live in faith, hope, and love. God's favor is a powerful and mysterious gift, and many go through life without realizing the true impact it can have. When we recognize that we were chosen to carry this sign, something within us awakens, a strength and confidence that defies all human logic. This favor doesn't just transform our lives, it echoes into the world around us, creating a wave of light and hope that touches everyone who crosses our path. And the question we must ask ourselves is, are we ready to carry this sign, to let this divine mark shine through us? Being a bearer of God's favor is to carry a unique identity, a special mission that challenges our understanding. It calls us to live with purpose, with an unwavering commitment to be a light and inspiration. And this choice to accept the call is an act of faith that changes the course of our history and aligns us with a plan far greater than we could imagine. Each challenge, each blessing, and each act of kindness we offer is a part of this mission. The moment we accept this identity is the moment we become truly alive, awakening to the reality that we were made to make an impact. Life gains new meaning as we live in alliance with divine love and protection. This awareness makes us strong, ready to face adversity with the certainty that He is with us, opening paths and guiding us. And by carrying this sign, we become living testimonies of God's grace and power. So the question remains, are you ready to say yes to this call? To let God's favor manifest in your life, overflowing with blessings that will reach others? This decision is yours, and by embracing it, you become part of an eternal purpose that reflects divine glory and love. Now, only you can decide if you'll let this sign shine. Now that we understand the depth and power of God's favor, it's time to ask ourselves, are we ready to let this sign shine within us? What steps can we take to live with faith, gratitude, and obedience, allowing divine favor to overflow in our lives and touch those around us? And if each challenge we face were a chance to inspire, to be a light in the darkness? Remember that carrying this sign is a daily decision, a journey that begins with faith and humility but whose blessings and protection are always with us. Now, how about taking the next step and committing to this journey of transformation? Share in the comments your spiritual awakening from this video. If you're truly ready to unlock your destiny, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way you won't miss any content that can change your life and help you defeat the enemy. Let's walk together on this path of faith, spiritual authority, and victory in Christ. Don't miss out on this journey.